I was on YouTube watching a video of a pastor apologizing for holding the biblical view of remarriage after divorce is adultery. Okay? And he talks about his reasons why. And talks about how he has seen some Christians take this view and bash people who are in adultery, in a marriage that Christ calls adultery, over the head with it. You have mean-spirited, messed up people in church, okay? You have messed up people who use religion to bash others, to crucify others, and they have to be checked. That's it. They have to be checked. That's a no-brainer. Okay, because Christ says to tell the truth in love. So now he's talking about how, there was this woman whose husband, one who's, she's in an adulterous relationship. It's not a marriage. And she says he's incapacitated now, and, I know the truth, but if I leave now, who's going to take care of him? And I know if I don't leave him, I'm going to be, in trouble with God. This woman can easily put him in a nursing home. Okay? That's what she could do. I'm not trying to be casual and nonchalant about it, but if this is a serious issue that is a heaven and hell issue, you would jump at the chance to try to get right with God. But the reality is that she's not serious. Like many people when it comes to other issues in the Bible, that makes this life very challenging. Divorce and remarriage is no different. Okay? A lot of people, don't want to give up something that they built their whole life on. And that's just it. This life is not easy. Okay? And John the Baptist lost his head over this. Literally. And you have pastors who want to use human reasoning and human intellect to be an excuse to disobey the word of God. You can't do that. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. I mean, pastors who think this way are dangerous. If you just cower, if you just bow down to these people who are just playing a violin in your ears, it's what it is. It's a violin. It's a violin. Playing a violin in your ears. And you have to see it that way. Not to be cruel, but to understand that you will be held accountable. Alright? For the lives you have shepherded in your church. You have to tell the truth. It doesn't matter if people are uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if people hate you afterwards or want to leave your church. So what? So what? It is your hide on Judgment Day, not them. It is you that is going to hear, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of thy Lord," or it's going to be, "Depart from me, you work of iniquity. I never knew you," to be cast into the fire prepared for the devil and his angels. This is what you are facing as a pastor. As a pastor. I don't know what you thought this was, but it's a war. It is a literal war that we are fighting. If you stand for truth, if you want to live this Christian life, it's a literal war. Okay? A war that, you know, you will pay a high price if you lose. All right? It's amazing how people could say that gay marriage is wrong, but you won't say divorce and remarrying somebody else while your first spouse lives is not wrong. They won't say that. They won't say that. I find that very fascinating. These pastors will come after the gays, gay marriage, but you won't say that remarriage after divorce is adultery. Right? That's the thing. Nobody is going to take the church seriously because you won't tell the truth. You won't stand on it. They may hate you. The world may hate you. Your family may hate you. Most of your church will hate you. Your wife could hate you. Your kids may hate you. But they will respect you because you stood on business. And God would respect you. Okay? That is the thing. A lot of you don't care. Just don't care. All right? This is why in some ways it's just like, it's better if you just have a small group of like-minded believers and just have church. Have church that way, at each other's houses. Don't go to these congregations with a flip because a couple of people shouted at them, or a couple of people, you know, tried to play the sympathy card with you. You don't understand. When I said this was a war, who do you think put that in that woman's mind to say, well, if you want to be saved, you're going to have to let this man be in a hospital? Who do you think put that in her mind? That was the devil, trying to keep her in a state of sin. Okay? All right? Trying to keep her in a state of, you know, who's going to take care of him? Why don't you pray to God and ask God to help you find somebody that could be a caretaker for him? All right? Satan put that excuse in her ears. Just like Satan probably put that excuse in a whole bunch of people who didn't like hearing about divorce and remarriage. Okay? He didn't like that. And I bet you that, you know, when you told this, especially when it came to women, they started pulling the sympathy card. My husband cheated on me. My husband beat me. Not to diminish domestic violence, but you can always separate and leave. You divorce them. You could relocate. All right? Okay. And you could remain celibate and live holy for the rest of your life. Okay? And the pastor was saying stuff like, well, how could they live like a sexless life? So the real issue is getting sex, having a warm bed at night. That's the issue here, having a warm bed at night. You don't want to go to bed. You don't want to sleep in a cold bed. That's it. That's it. Okay? Unfortunately, it's just going to have to be that way. Unless, you start praying to God, and hopefully God will end the adulterous marriage that your first covenant spouse is in, and hopefully you guys could reconcile. If not, then it is what it is. It is what it is. You're going to have to be living celibate. You're going to have to, that's it. There's no other way around it. But a lot of people, they don't want to hear it. These pastors are so cowardly. Okay? There's a reason why most people don't go to church anymore. If they've read the Bible and stuff, like, I don't want to go to a church tonight, and you don't stand on business. Why should I come to your church? I'm better off just having my children, me and my children, and a wife, just have church service in our home. Because you guys can't be trusted to tell the truth. And nothing but the truth. So help you God. That's the reality. That is the reality. A lot of you pastors are spiritual serial killers. That's right. Spiritual serial killers. You all will go and just let people believe what they want. Alright? Because they shed a little tears. They're in pain. They're they were living trauma. I thought you're supposed to give that to Christ. I thought you guys were supposed to direct people to Christ with all that trauma. I thought you were supposed to do that. But no. Instead of doing that, you tell them sweet lies. You act like these, you obey these, in the Old Testament, when they told one of the prophets, Jeremiah, tell us smooth things. Tell us delicate things. Don't tell us the truth. Tell us things that are smooth to my ears. Huh? And you did that. And they went on their way knowing they're going to face judgment one day when they die in that sin. And then the next person who you talk about divorce, remarriage, and you tell them the truth, and they act up, and you do it again and again and again. And these people live in it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And they could have died. They die in that sin, in hell. You're spiritual serial killers. Hundreds of pastors do this nonsense. Okay? Hundreds. You're notorious. Okay? Forget John Wayne Gacy. Forget Ted Bundy. Forget Jeffrey Dahmer. You guys are the real monsters. You guys are the real predators. Okay? Alright? You all want to be pastors, but you want to shepherd the flock, but not take the brunt that comes with it. You want to tell the truth, but face no backlash. It's like a boxer. A person wants to be a boxer. You want to be the heavyweight champion of the world, but you don't want to take a hit. You don't want to be booed. You don't want to be hated. Hmm? Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Okay? You're afraid that you'll lose your church. You could be afraid that your wife may leave you because your wife is one of those women that her family is attached to her. Okay? And she might turn the kids on you. Well, sorry, but one, you shouldn't have married a woman like that. Two, being a pastor, it's a calling to stand up against. You know the Bible's countercultural, right? Jesus was countercultural. And that's just it. When he said he's the way, the truth, and the life, he didn't say it'd be easy. He said narrow is the gate to eternal, narrow is the road to eternal life. Broad is the path to destruction. He said the godly will face persecution. And that is what you will face if you are a pastor, especially a pastor, trying to live godly and telling the truth. And believe me, I've heard stories. Even one of a pastor having his car planted with an explosive because he stood on the truth of the remarriage after divorce is adultery. Okay? You cannot be a pastor and cower to people's situations, their trauma, when you are supposed to uplift and stand and promote a person, Jesus Christ, who is above trauma. He was above situations. Because he's a mediator between God and man, and he is the one who overcame all things. Alright? We don't have a mediator that doesn't know what we're going through. So, my question to you, to these pastors, why aren't you utilizing that? Oh, I get it. Money. Closeness with family. Alright? If that's the case, just get a job. Just quit. Just quit. It's really that simple. Just quit. You don't want to follow God. That's all I got to say. Peace and God bless.